Welcome to another
Yo,
episode of the Wholesale Elite Podcast. I'm Isham and I'm here with my main man, my side dude, my co-host Tanner Santucci.
You can just call me your side chick. It's cool.
I don't know yet, but man, I'll tell you what. Today, for any of you who are listening and aren't watching this show, this is going to be a bit of a shocker. And first, I want to introduce you all to my main man, Andy Rong. Andy is, I met Andy in Astro, and you're going to hear his story because he has a phenomenal one. Andy's probably one of the most unique guests that I've had on, or that we've had on the shows to date. And I don't see any others that are going to be challenging him. So I'd love for you guys to meet Andy, hear his story. Andy, what's up, dude?
what's up, bro? What's up? Thank you for having me on. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's been awesome to have you on. The first time I ever heard of you was on a podcast that Jamil Damji has called To the Moon. And I heard your story, and I'm like, oh, man, this is like my first month getting started. And, bro, it was so inspiring. And to have you on our show is an honor. So I'm really stoked.
Thank you. It was an honor for me to be on here. I think my purpose right now, currently in life, is to inspire people and just set the bar higher for people my age. Like, I don't want other 17-year-olds to believe that just doing the absolute minimum is what is expected, which is not. I just want to set the bar higher for everyone else.
Absolutely.
And
I don't know if you guys caught that.
Right.
I don't know if anyone caught that, but Andy sounds like a grown-ass man, but he's 17. And I mean, he's entering the grown-ass man. Man. Yeah, so Andy's a young guy. So, dude, I mean, I'm sure, now that people are hearing that, their brains are broken, and they haven't even heard about what you've done in real estate yet. But just to know you're 17, walk us through that story, man. How does a 17-year-old find out about real estate and then have the gumph and that work ethic to pursue the career with success? Please walk us through that.
Right. So I feel like we should start like way back. So last night I was actually thinking what I was doing back in elementary school. Obviously I wasn't this person back in elementary school. Every entrepreneur is built from being in the furnace for a long time. So in elementary, I remember first step, it was like for a school fundraiser. I guess that was my first step into just sales and marketing or whatever. And then we went on to middle school, or as I go on middle school, I sold my old stuff on like Craigslist, OfferUp, sold all that, like my old stuff just to get some cash. And I wasn't like in the mindset of like, okay, I'm gonna think long term. I was just like, okay, let's get this cash and I'm gonna go buy something stupid. That was my mindset back then, which obviously is much different now. Sure. But at least that got me to like where, okay, like I can hustle and then get money. Like that's how that works. So then that started like, okay, lighting a fire in my head. And so as I progress on in high school, like I think freshman year, COVID hit, I think. And then that's when I started like a drop shipping business, which I think every single teenager has tried. And like pretty much like 99% of them failed because of how saturated it is. But I started it was an automatic hand soap dispenser. So like because I thought during this time like COVID that like people would want to like not touch. I don't know my ideas back then, but like people wouldn't want to touch the dispenser, so it just automatically dispense. And this would be able to place in all households instead of just like in restaurants and stuff. I thought it was a great idea, but I just didn't put enough work in. But that I guess gave me the idea of how much or how long the journey was going to be with entrepreneurship. So that failed, but every entrepreneur's first business is going to fail, or at least is going to like not go your way. And if it doesn't, that's not good. Like, honestly, I think you need to fail. Like,
Absolutely.
you need to fail and learn those lessons, because those lessons are much more important than someone just saying like, don't do that, but you're still gonna do it. But there's two different types of wisdom. There's experience wisdom, and then there's learned wisdom. Experience is like you've actually went through the furnace and went through that. And the other one's just like, hey, don't do that. Okay, you don't want to go on that path, but you still do it, and then you learn, right? So yeah, going back to high school, sophomore year, like January 2021, I saw a TikTok video of Kong. I'm sure you guys know Kong.
Come on,
Wholesale.
man.
Oh, man.
Let's get this money. Yeah, so I saw his videos and I was like, holy shoot, like I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could do real estate without any money down. And I was like, okay. And I was in like that mindset where I was like, okay, like I'm gonna get that first check.
Right.
Which, like, now I learned like I need to detach from the outcome.
Right.
Because what like progressing a little bit, at the mastermind, I learned that when you start thinking in like 10-year runs instead of like, because if you can't do this business forever, don't do it for a day, right? Like, God, thinking 10-year runs, 10-year increments, that was like a huge nugget. Like, that was great. What was I on? About the Kong. So I tried getting in that, but I felt like I needed guidance. And then one day I just saw like Jamil's like ads, and that like just got me into it. I got on a call with one of the reps, and his name's Kilo. And I was 15 at the time. Like, I just turned 15 and I didn't have too much money. And I had some money from like side hustles and stuff and working at my parents' restaurant. So I got some money from that. I paid the first month off because I couldn't pay off the whole thing because I didn't have the money for that.
Right.
So what I did was I got access to the course and stuff, joined Astro, try to learn as much as possible. And then like I tried doing direct to seller. I tried doing all these different things. I had the shiny object syndrome, and I chased everything. But I think that was important, because that taught me a lot of lessons of what not to do and what I should be doing. And that was really helpful. But then like 3-4 months went by. I was staying up super late, like up until like 4 a.m. on a school night. Real estate, but like I wasn't doing tasks that actually mattered. Like I was doing like cleaning up Excel sheets and like doing stuff that didn't matter.
Right.
Like not actually money making activities. And I was like ignorant at the time. Yeah, I was. Yeah. I was super closed-minded and my mindset wasn't in the right place. I was just kind of in that dog mentality where I was just like, go, 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 go. And I wasn't looking left and right, watching for my steps. I didn't have a set direction. And then I wasn't able to afford anything. And I was like, hey, Kilo, I can't pay for next month. I'm just going to have to, like, I'll call you back, or like, I'll reach out to you when I can pay back the money. So left Astro, or took a break from Astro. And then
for how long?
I think it was 3-4 months.
Okay.
From Astro. Not too long. And so that's the period where I built, or the story was, my dad had this friend that owned like a fruit wholesaling company. And they had a bunch of surplus pallets. And I was like, okay, like, there might be some, like, this guy has an issue. He has all these pallets that he doesn't know how to get rid of. And they're just stacked in the side of his warehouse. And there was just hundreds just stacked up. And he would tell me, like, I would just, like, he's like, yeah, some homeless guy comes around with a truck and grabs a couple. I'm like, hey, there's probably some money here. So I dug in some more in pallet flipping. And then and I went on Craigslist. I found some buyer in California that was had an order or needed like 20,000 pallets.
Holy cow.
And I was like, hey, bro, like how much would you pay for each pallet if pickup was in like Houston, which is where I live? And he was like, we can pay $5 and we can pay trucking costs. Okay. And then I talked to my dad's friend, and he was like, yeah, dude, just get rid of them. Like, we don't care. Like, just it would do us just better for you to get rid of them. And I was like, okay.
Wow. Free inventory.
I call up the California guy, and he's like, okay, let me send the truck. Okay, coming Monday. And then Monday comes, the truck.
And where do you live?
I live in Houston.
You live in Houston. Okay.
Yep.
You called someone in California as a 16-year-old at the time?
Yeah, probably. Oh, no, I was still 15.
15. And you organized a shipment from California to come over and pick up wow. Okay,
yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah. So the truck came, and then the warehouse guys were just guys that didn't have it was on their break time. And what I'd do is I'd either give them lunch or just say hi or something. And they'd load up the truck for me. Like, they'd load it up, thinking it's like a regular shipment. And I'm just, to the truck driver, I just give them the bill of, I forgot what's called, bill of loading or bill of lading, something
Sure,
like that.
yeah,
It's like a receipt yeah. So, and then he signs that, I go home, and my home's like 10 minutes away. And that was the transaction. That's how it would go for like 5 more times.
So how would you get paid then?
It would be through just a wire it would go through my dad's account, because I didn't have a business account, and then he would just pay me in cash, and he would take some commission because.
Nice.
Family of hustlers. There you go.
Yeah. So that's how I got paid. But I made a decent amount of money from that. And then it all blew up one day because the guy, my dad's friend, found out about the whole operation and was like, what the hell? How are you? Okay, no, sure. I'm not doing this. You're making too much money.
Oh no.
How much were you making from these pallets then?
So there was 500 pallets at one time. That would be every 2 weeks. So he would build up 500 pallets per week at the warehouse. And then I just call the buyer hey, I have pallets ready for pickup. Send your truck.
So every 2 weeks you're shipping out, or every week
2
or
weeks.
2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks. I would just send, he would send the truck, pay for all that, coordinate all that, and then he would send it over. So that was super cool. That was a money hack.
I gotta know.
I made 10K, around 10K, that whole time.
And how long did that last before that pallet?
5 times, 4 or 5 times.
Well, you made over 20K then selling pallets in a few months.
So
how much? 10K, I have to know how much commission did your dad take out?
I don't think too much. I forget, but he just paid me in cash or transferred to my bank account. He didn't take too much. So it was 500 and then times $5, which is 2,500 per shipment. And I had no overhead. I didn't have any overhead. So that's that. And that built up some money to pay back Astro. So I paid that off. Or actually, let's rewind a little bit. So that blows up because they found out. And then one day, or a little after that, I was just driving to Kroger and I was just listening to podcasts and stuff like that. And I come across Jamil's To the Moon podcast with Noah Blankenship. And for those listening that know Noah Blankenship, super cool dude. And the video was titled 19-year-old closes 68 deals a month or something like that. I'm like, what? And I knew Noah. We joined at the same time, pretty much. It's the same time frame. He just hit it better, right? He didn't have anything different from me. He just hit it better. So yeah, I was like, okay, I know Noah. He was in the same position as me. He had the same circumstances, if not worse, and hit it way harder. So I was like, that lit a fire in me. I was like, okay, let's go back in this, but let's take a step back a little bit and make sure we're heading around the right paths, and we're gonna go 200%. And now me and Noah are still good buddies. he's super cool dude. And I'm just super proud of him. Like, he's done so many transactions, and I'm so grateful that his video brought me back.
So I have to ask, so for the pallet thing, and not specifically the pallet situation, but I remember you said that you started doing the pallets whenever you were in your break from when you first started Astro, when you needed to make money. And then you mentioned you saw the problem, and so you wanted to provide a solution, right? This guy had all these pallets. Now, was that type of mindset, the way you thought that through, like problem, I can be a solution? Was that, did Astro, the first time being in Astro, did you think that way beforehand? Or was it Astro that kind of taught you, hey, if there's a problem, I can be a solution? And that's when the pallet situation came about.
I think absolutely Astro taught me lessons that, you know, if seller has a motivation, like some issue with, you know, a home or something, and I'm there to provide a solution. So that got me in the framework to, if I see someone having a problem, you know, there's a solution to that. You just have to know what.
And you sure as hell found a solution, making that money at 15.
Yeah. I could probably, like, if I still continued on doing it to this day, it would probably be very successful. But I didn't see it to be sustainable. So I just stopped that. And now my dad's doing it with,
he's like, oh shit.
Friend. Like, he just took
he
over.
saw you back out of it, and he's like, I have less competition. Let's get on with it.
He just took over. And now he's just delivering locally. But yeah, that's what he's doing, and he's making some money off that.
So would you consider that your first successful business or first successful entrepreneurship opportunity?
I would say that's like the first taste of, oh shit, like I can make money. Like I can make some money, yo.
You're a hustler.
So like, yeah. So that's that. And then joined back Astro. I went through back the mindset like week. That was super good. And then just went back to foundations and then went back at it.
Let me jump in real quick, Andy. What was one of your, so a lot, I know that, you know, this, I think our podcast, the past few episodes has turned into, and I'm okay with it, it's turned into a promo for Astro, just because of how effective, you know, we were by the community and by Jim and by the course. What's, you know, I think people have heard the first week a few times now, but no one's really dove in deep. The first week, just for anyone who's not listening, it's all mindset. So what's one of your biggest takeaways? Because you already had an entrepreneurial mindset. You know, it seemed like you already had the mindset to find a need, a void in the marketplace, and fill it. You know, like you looked for the hand soap, you know, dispenser. You were doing stuff in middle school, and so you had that mindset. So having already a sharp mindset, obviously, as a 15-year-old who's crushing it, making, you know, thousands of dollars, what did you learn in that first week that you felt propelled you?
I think that built like the foundation of where I needed to go for mindset wise. I think the biggest takeaway from that week, because obviously my mindset has changed back since then, but I think what was really important was meditation and prayer. That was super important, just to mindset. Like that was I guess my mindset back then. But now, like, people see me work like in school and they're like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you shouldn't be doing this. I'm like, this is what I like to do. Like, this is, if you don't like it, cool. I like it. I like to work.
How's your school environment? Like, are your friends hustlers like you? Or are you the guy that's in the corner by yourself, like just texting deals? Or what's your school environment like?
24/7 when I'm in class, I'm thinking about real estate. Like I'm thinking about, okay, is she sending me a contract right now? Where should I get this at? Hey, did he text me yet? I'm trying to get this locked up. So yeah, every second of the day, I'd love to meet another person. It's just like, I'm not trying to be like cocky or whatever, but I want to meet another person that has the desire and the burning desire to want it as bad as me. Like I want to meet someone like that. And I haven't yet.
So would you consider yourself a good student? I mean, are you planning on going to college? I mean, what's your... Because you always hear, they've done studies and stuff, but you always hear that entrepreneurs are never the best students, right?
Yeah.
Because
So that's like the like the story you hear a lot is like all the amazing entrepreneurs don't like school, and I really agree with that because I mean, if you're gonna be like, there's about 8 careers that you can go to college for, that you should go to college for, like doctors, engineers, blah blah blah. There's about 8 careers. I can count them on my fingers. But like careers like entrepreneurship, e-commerce, or real estate, or stuff like that, I don't think it's the best idea. Like I can go on for like days about college because me and my friends argue all the time. Like, hey, like, you should go to college. Like, you should do that. But I'm like, hey, man, like, I'm doing well here. Like, what's the point of me learning business from professors that don't even do what they teach?
right.
Like, they don't even own a business, right? And they're teaching old entrepreneurship that worked probably 50 years ago, but now everything has changed, and stuff like that doesn't work anymore, right? And even if they did own a business, like, why are you teaching as a professor?
Right.
And then also, if your business failed, like, we're learning from someone who has failed in business, which is even worse. Right?
One of one of the only business professors that I had, because I was business when I first went to college, and then I switched over to a medicine degree. But when I first got in, the only professor for any of my business classes that actually owned a business, he owned a franchise of Coney Islander hot dogs. And so
is that really business?
Can I take this guy serious, or? But yeah, no, I was just adding to that. It's funny.
Yeah. I mean, I like what has a higher ROI, right? Spending 4 years of your prime and, let's say, 100K, 200K in tuitions, or joining Astro. Let's just use Astro for an example. Like, what has a better return on investment?
Sure.
I don't know. I think Astro is a better investment, to be honest.
I think we would all argue that.
Yeah. So you make the money, and you make the money, selling the pallets, and now you're like, all right, I'm ready to go all in on real estate. So real estate must have really struck a chord in you to want to go back to that versus, you've got proof of concept. You can make money. You're resourceful enough to figure stuff out. Why go back into real estate of all the different endeavors you could have done?
Right. It just really felt like my gut just told me you should get back in real estate. And also, like, one thing was, like, after the palace thing, like, that blew up on my birthday, or like, let's move back a little bit. My grandpa had this house that was in Houston. It was vacant, and I was like thinking, like, this is where that framework came back in. I was like thinking, there could be some money here, and I had some previous knowledge from wholesaling, right? So I knew, like, vacant house, okay, click, that ring in my head. And I was like, okay, how can I sell this and get this boat out? So I asked my grandpa, would you be willing to sell? And he was like, yeah, at a certain price. And then I got his price, which was, I forget now, but I reached out to, like, my previous network of dispo wholesalers and guys, and I sent it out to a bunch of people. But this one guy responded, disposition wholesaler, that said, like, hey, I have an offer from a hedge fund that could buy this home. And it was too high price for a fix and flipper. Like, it didn't make sense for a fix and flipper. So we ended up selling to a hedge fund. He didn't, like, I got kind of fucked on the deal. He had, like, 3 other partners that I didn't know about. And then, like, we had to split the 17K assignment 4 ways. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, let's just get this done. So I was under impression that we'd split it 50-50, but 2 other guys came in. Whatever.
And this is your grandpa's house, you said?
Yeah, this is my grandpa's house.
What was that? Let me ask him, what was that process in terms of, I mean, was he already willing to sell and you knew about it when you knew about the property, or did you have to go to him and say, hey, grandpa, here's the deal? Would you be open to selling?
I told him, like, hey, he kind of knew, because he speaks Chinese, and he doesn't really understand most of the stuff I do, but he knows, like, I guess, in real estate. certain price, and he was like, yeah, and he gave me the price, and then we worked from there. It was quite difficult actually. Like he lived in China, and like to get closing docs signed, it was a really difficult process because we'd have to get like all that verification done. But that was like that was before this whole transaction was before I even saw Noah's podcast. So I did this, made some money off that. But the thing about it was I didn't go right back in real estate, which is interesting to me. And only until like a month later I saw Noah's podcast, and I was like, okay, let's go back in, because my parents, like, when a lot of entrepreneurs or successful guys speak on stage and they're like, hey, thanks mom and dad for being there for me and stuff like that. Right. I don't think I'm gonna be that way, because my parents didn't really support me. Obviously they're great, I love them, but like my dad was always like, you'll never be able to do this. This is, how is it even possible? You do real estate and you're 16, you need a license. And everyone, when someone hears about you that does real estate, you have a license? Do you have a license?
Yeah, right.
How are you doing this? So he was like that. And then I closed the deal on, or I closed our grandpa's house, made $4,500 off that. And he was like, there's no way you can't do it without like yourself, without our help. Like, because obviously it was grandpa's house, it was, I guess, like easier to negotiate and stuff like that, which is true. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool. Okay, let me try to do this on my own now. And like there was just these new like barriers, new obstacles now. So junior year goes by, I'm still grinding every day, and until like the last day of school, like literally the last day of school, I finally closed like a deal that well, this is like literally like 5 months ago. And wow. I closed the deal in Tampa, or like Northport, Florida, for $5,000. We sold to a hedge fund, and I got that work like actually on my own and not using any of our own properties or whatever. And he was like, do you know that? Yeah, it's cool. 5K is cool, but can you turn it into it? Like, can you? Yeah.
Your dad's a hater, man.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, let me try again. And I was like, okay, summer's starting, I got to go hard. So I went 100% every day. And I forget, like I went so hard, I just forget like what I did. Like, I don't know if you guys have those seasons, but
100%
forget what I did. Like I just grinded hard. I just know that. And then I remember I built the system. A lot of late nights, I was just like, oh my gosh, how do you work this? Like, and then like shit didn't work, and I was like, oh my gosh, because I know Isham had like, you have a marketing background, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I know sometimes when stuff doesn't work and you're just super frustrated, like, oh my gosh, and then next day you get it figured out. But like stuff with like Zapier that doesn't work.
Oh yeah, integrations it's rough.
That stuff really, really gets me fired up. But now I built the real estate, I guess, systems company that I'm now helping a lot of people automate a lot of this stuff in their business.
Dude, let's talk about that if you don't mind. Yeah. I mean, you've got a phenomenal product that I recently just found out about, and a phenomenal company in REI Reach. But please tell everyone about kind of. I think I understand why you started it, but I'd love to hear your insight. Yeah. Go nuts.
Yeah. So the purpose of it was because in the summer I had a lot of time, right? So I knew like when school came along, I was gonna have little, if not no time to work on my business. And I knew the KPIs I needed hit. So I was like, okay, what are the tedious tasks I have every day that are literally just busy work and that I can probably automate? So I just tracked my day and figured out, okay, these are the tasks, the follow-up messages, the potential deal follow-ups, the new outreach. These are all very manual, and these are not, I guess, high money-making activities.
High income, yeah, sure.
Yeah, like something like that. So over the course of like 3 or so months, I worked on building something that was the most efficient system. Until like one day, I didn't at the beginning, I didn't have the vision of selling the system. I had the vision of making something that was badass that could save me a tremendous amount of time. Like that was the vision, right? That it was nothing like there was never RA reach in mind. There's never anything like that. Until one day, this guy in Astro reaches out and was like, "Hey, do you use RA Reply?" Initially, the system was built on RA Reply, and now we've since moved to Go High Level. But he was like, "Do you use RA Reply?" And I was like, "Yeah, I use RA Reply." And he was like, "Yeah, can you show me how it works and stuff?" Yeah, and then I had a meeting with them later that day, and I showed him around like the agent outreach system. Obviously, it's way better now, but I showed him before, and he was like, halfway through the presentation, he was like, "How much?" And I was like, "What do you mean how much? Like, do you want to buy it? Like, how does that work?" And then something clicked in my head. I was like, "Whoa, whoa!" I just made like $500 from like not that too much work and just selling my system. And I was like, "Oh shit, okay, okay, that's cool." And then I made that a lot better, and then moved it to Go High Level, made it super scalable and stuff like that. And now it's out to people in the Astro community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what is this? What does your system do? How would that help someone in their business?
Yeah. So so it's the thing is about the system is it's the niche we're targeting on is just agent outreach, right? This is not really for like the general like market because a lot of people don't do that. I could probably build something like that, but that'd just be teeth pulling, and I'd rather not do that. So this is tailored towards like the Astro community because I know that's where everyone is doing right now. That's what I'm doing in my own company. That's been working for me, right? So it automates follow-up, so you don't have to send follow-up messages. You don't have to mark, let's say, like John, the realtor, down in your calendar to follow up with them. Automatically, like it randomizes like the time it follows up with, like so, and then it gets more personalized the more you follow up with them. Track all your deals, current deals, and like all the people you follow up with. I mean, I can have a 2-hour presentation again on how the system works, but let's just say like you can do as much out. Like I would say that is that in the system in one sentence.
Absolutely. Now, are you planning on rolling the system out publicly, or are you just keeping it mostly to the Astro community?
That I haven't thought out that far yet. Like this is like literally like 2 months ago. Like this all happened in like 2 months, which is crazy. So I don't know. I have to think that out and sleep on it. But that could be a great idea.
No worries. Well, let's if we can, let's talk a little agent outreach. I know this is a mindset podcast, right? Where we try to stay away from a lot of strategy and how'd you build your business and stuff like that, and more so focus on the mindset. But I know a lot of listeners maybe aren't familiar with the Astro community or aren't really familiar with agent outreach. They've just heard a lot of the common stuff that's out there, start off with driving for dollars and pulling lead lists and things like that. What is agent outreach to you, and why did you choose that method?
I chose agent outreach because everyone was doing it. I was like, okay, like I didn't want to miss out on it, so I picked it, and then it worked. The first deal, or it was actually with the system. And when I started marketing on the system, I closed 2 agent outreach deals in my first 2 months of using the system, which is pretty quick. And that was, I guess, the proof of concept of the system. So I was like, hey, I can give it to people. But going back to your question, yeah, agent outreach is amazing. Like I think it's sustainable. I think, Keegley is doing it 100%. Like, obviously they have JV deals, but they're pretty much doing 100% agent outreach right now. Like, so that's why I was like, okay, that is going to be the most sustainable way to build my business.
Absolutely. Well, dude, along your journey, I'm sure you've had some pretty crazy wins. Probably some terrifying things happen that happen to all of us. So those oh shit moments where you're like, oh crap, I sent the wrong contract or I did something. Can you share with us one of those stories, one of those scary stories where something that may even stop someone who is in wholesaling from if they think about it, man, what if this happens? That may stop them from taking action. Can you share one of those stories and how you got through it?
Let me think. Back in my first stage of doing wholesale real estate, I had this, I think every wholesaler goes through it, but they think this one deal is like amazing and they keep trying to bend the numbers and making the numbers work when everyone's saying like, no, this doesn't work. And he's like, they're trying to sell like a tire shop and making that try to work. That was how I was back then. That was probably why like I didn't progress as far as I wanted to, was because I was so attached and emotionally attached to one deal. I didn't realize that you need to see 100 deals and then you'll probably get one out of that, right? So I was so attached on this one property, and like it was just a whole mess. The moral of the story is like I just kept trying to make it work, which like that isn't how it works in real estate, right? You can't just bend numbers and make something work when it really doesn't.
What were you doing to try and make it work? Like you just kept going after buyers and they kept telling you.
I sent it to everyone and everyone turned it down, was like, or like ghosted me or something like that. And I'd be like, yo, the ARV would be like an insane amount of money like next year. And like, why am I like, now I'm like looking at my old self, like, why are you calculating ARV for next year? Why are you accounting for that appreciation? And I was just trying to bend numbers. Like if you just, cause it was a turnkey property, but it was super old. And I was like, dude, you can get like 50K in equity, like, or something like that. If you buy this, like just buy it, please. And
you had this marked up?
Yeah, the thing was marked up like crazy, I think. Just looking back, it's hilarious. Now I'd never do that because like I said earlier in the podcast, like those lessons, like we need experience. And then now I'm like, okay, I'll never do that ever again.
What's something that you want to kind of caution new wholesalers? Looking back on your path, like, man, not I wish I wouldn't have, but kind of, had I not done that, maybe I would have shortened my learning curve a little bit, or what? Just a little cautionary tale for any budding wholesalers you got.
Find a mentor, if you can. Find a mentor, because I think that's absolutely the best way. Because they've already gone through those experiences and now you can learn from their experiences and they can watch like, hey, some of the good mentors actually want to see you go down a path and burn. So you actually learn that lesson. Absolutely. And they'll tell you after like, hey, I knew you were going to go down that path, but like, I didn't want to stop you because that was a lesson that you really needed to learn. I think those are honestly the best mentors, because that's when, okay, you gain real wisdom. But the next thing is detaching from the outcome. So detaching from, okay, I need my first check. I need, like the words we say are so powerful. Like saying, I need this. Like, why do you need it? Like, aren't you good right now? Like, you're not living in a third world country, right? Like you're living in a home with a roof over your head. You don't need this. And then that just detaching from the outcome is super important. So you can focus on providing value instead of the actual money. I know like in the books, The Go-Giver, which I recommend everyone here. Is an amazing book that pretty much like the point of the story is like when you provide value and you exceed expectations, that's when you'll get paid as a side effect, not even like the reward. The reward is just providing value to the person because that is the purpose. And once you do that and you give and give even more when they expected an ask, they expect an ask, but you kept giving. They're gonna, the law of what was it called? The law of reciprocity or something like that.
Yeah, reciprocity.
Reciprocity, and they will be like, okay, I owe this guy something. Like at least, like this guy's given a lot. Let me do something in return for them.
So how does a new person? Oh, sorry to interrupt. How does a new person give? Person that feels that they may have no value. What do they have to give?
Really just like learning the skills required to give, and then go from there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things I learned when I was budding, I had a mentor that told me, Isham, you're either, because I felt the same way, like I have nothing of value to offer. And he said, usually, there's two of the most valuable things you can offer in this world that are valuable, right, is either time or money. And right, usually the person who has a lot of one is short on the other. So a person who has a lot of right, money usually doesn't have a lot of time. A person who has no money right, usually has a lot of time. So that's the value you bring to the table is the time. So you call up that person, you say, hey, look, mentor, person who's killing it right now, who doesn't have the time. I only got the time. Can I make the calls for you? Give me a list. Well, I'll split this thing whatever I want. So I think that was, that's something newer folks should consider. If you're not feeling like you have anything of value to offer, offer yourself, offer your time.
Right. I think I absolutely agree with that. Is that we need to focus on building our skill sets, something that cannot be taken away from us. Like money can be taken away from us, right? Like the stories of like billionaires can lose all their wealth and then build it back in a couple of months because they have that skill set and they have those experiences, right? They can do that. But with someone like some guy in high school won't be able to do that. They won't be able to just build generational wealth in a couple months, right? But a billionaire can because they've actually done it and went through the furnace for 10, 20 years.
So true. So
yeah, we need to build specialized skill sets that cannot be replaceable, that cannot be replaced by a 3.1 GPA from, I don't know, wherever. Something that's skills that are not replaceable and skills that are specialized and not easily teachable by society. I think those are absolutely the most valuable skills to have in this current day.
That's good. And you can definitely do that in real estate. There's so many avenues that you can take. More specifically in wholesaling, getting that foundation. So that's fantastic advice. Thank you for that.
Right.
Wow. Absolutely. Dude, this is great. I do want to ask you this. So you put your head down in the summer, you're grinding it out. You don't even remember, what all you did. Let me ask you, you don't have to tell me the month or anything, but what's been your biggest month in terms of revenue that you've done so far for yourself?
So currently in August, which was like the last month of summer, was a $23,000 month. That was August. So first month back to school. September, I did nothing because I was focused on like REI Reach right now. Like I was focused on like building it so I can give it to other people so they can use it. That was the whole month. But then now October, actually closed a 10.5K deal in July. So 10.5, and then I missed the deadline a little bit, but November 2nd, I have a $40,000 deal closing in Tampa that's already EMD and assigned or whatever. So it would have been like a 50K a month, but unfortunately, like 2 days off. But I'm just gonna say 50K a month anyways. And then that's only the real estate side. Like that's not system side, which is also a lot more money.
Sure.
So yeah, it's like I feel like now, like just now, like I've started to catch wind in my business. Like I feel like now is where, okay. And obviously I see like something probably gonna go wrong. I expect that. As entrepreneurs, we expect something to go wrong. So I'm waiting for the drop. I'm waiting for it because real estate.
Hey, we've had that week. Right? It's already been that kind of week for us. So
there's that drop, and it's coming. I'm prepared for it. I'm ready for it.
And that's beautiful, guys. Like the mindset that Andy has, it's so important to take away, what he just spoke about. Tanner and I were just talking earlier today, and it's funny because when you learn to expect the drop, you're not shook by it. When it happens, you're not like, oh, there goes, you just knew it was coming. And today Tanner and I were laughing because it's like we've had one hell of a week, and today it's been thing after thing, so much so to where I'm just laughing like, universe, like this is hilarious at this point. Like I appreciate the lesson in humility that I'm getting right now. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah. I'm like, keep them coming, because like new levels, new demons, new levels, new obstacles, right? Like more money, more problems. Like you hear that saying all the time, and that's absolutely true. Like, so I think that's how it is right now.
Dude. Well, man, I mean, I'm so excited to be, alongside of you in this journey. Tanner's now in Astro, so we're obviously we're all tight knit, bro. We're definitely this community is phenomenal, guys. I know again, we talk about Astro a lot, but I encourage anyone who's considering mentorship or coaching. It's a good community. It's different. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, Andy, brother, thank you so much for your time, dude. I cannot wait to have you back on the show in 6 months or so from now, and just hear all the craziness that's happened in between. So, brother, thank you so much for your time, Andy. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, Andy.
Dude, before we let you go, I'd love to know what markets you're in, so people can connect with you and see deals, because you are the dispo master. And then also, how can people get in touch with you?
So I work deals in Tampa right now mainly. But by the time you hear this, I'll just, like, if you send me a deal in Jacksonville also, because I've sold like 2 deals in Jacksonville. So Jacksonville and Tampa are, I guess, my markets, but Tampa is my main focus right now. And the best way to reach me is either I'll give my phone number out. Are you ready?
Ready.
832-292-7286.
Giving the phone number out. That's what's up. So Andy Rong,
sir.
Andy Rong, the man, working Tampa, Jacksonville. Hit him up at 832-292-7286. We will put that info in the show notes. Any socials you want people to follow you on?
Facebook, Instagram. I can give that handle. Instant handle is just A and then Andy Rong.
And Rong is spelled R-O-N-G.
R-O-N-G, yes.
Absolutely.
Wrong without the W.
I love it. Andy, my brother, thank you again so much for your time. We look forward to it. Thank you for being one of the elitists, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Andy.
What up, guys? Thank you for watching or listening to another episode. And look, here's the deal. If you got value out of today's episode, we kindly ask that you subscribe and like and get this bad boy going. And look, if you're in Florida, we're in Florida. That's our marketplace, and we want to help your deals get to the finish line. So if you got any deals that need help with dispo, send us an email. We're at deals@unwindinvestments.com. You can also submit it via our property submission form online at unwindinvestments.com/deals. And guys, we want you to be the next guest on our show, so get out there and hustle and grind, and let's get to work. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace.